Hello everybody! Today on this video I'm going to show you how I made a webtoon. The webtoon I'm showing you is from the short story contest that is happening right now on Webtoons, and the title of my story is Airball. There are two categories for the short story contest right now. Ones that use your brain, make you think, are very thought-provoking, and ones that are more heartwarming and emotional. Mine falls under the heartwarming category, and I am envious of all the people who were able to make a brain webtoon because that takes a lot of effort to make a storyline that complex. But I tend to lean towards the emotional anyways, so it was a very fun challenge for me, and I will link my webtoon in the description. Please check it out, give it love and likes and subscribes, lots of comments, and here we go. So the first thing I did when making up my story was I outlined it in a Word document. I came up with the story kind of on the fly. I was at a track meet actually when I learned that this short story contest would be going on, so I just pulled out my laptop on the bus ride home and was jotting down notes. But anyway, the character I chose to use was one I had been doodling in my sketchbook for quite some time. His name is Jason, and he loves basketball. The story behind that is I used to be in basketball when I was a freshman in high school, and I went through some experiences kind of similar to Jason's, but it's something I wanted to elaborate on. I wanted to make a story that was powerful in the way that it shows you don't have to be the best at everything. A lot of stories have the main character being like super good at something or just, charismatic. Jason's kind of not so as much. He's a nice guy, but he just doesn't have all of the skills that he wishes he could. He's not a superhero or anything. So anyway, I took what I knew about my character and I kind of built up a storyline around him. And I outlined each episode right here in this Word document. I also jotted up some useful notes on the top, like what font I was going to use the dialogue and what my synopsis was going to be. But anyway, each episode I made, I put little numbers in front to show which the separation of panels, like one panel has this in it, the next panel has the next scene, and kind of like stage directions almost, kind of akin to a screenplay, but a little less professional looking, I guess. But anyway, and each time I finished a panel, I would just highlight the words to remind myself I had already done that. So then let's go to the art side of it. So for the art side of my story, I decided to use a program called Fire Alpaca. It's a free download online, and I highly recommend this program. It has a lot of useful tools. It's kind of like the poor man's Photoshop. Anyway, so first thing I did was I made my canvas size 800 by 1280 because that's the size that Webtoons takes. If you don't use this size, your comic's not going to look very good when you try to upload it. There's a bunch of sizing issues. So make sure it's this size. And then what I did first was I would sketch it out. I would put like the directions, the basic proportions of my character, and then after I had that all done, I put the borders around it, and then I did the lines. How I did the lines was I used this really nifty tool called the Curve Snap, and with Curve Snap, you can just go over your sketch lines. So let's say I sketched up here. If I sketched a circle, I could just go over it with Curve Snap, double click, and then you can draw, and it'll be perfectly aligned to what you used the Curve Snap on. So I used that to help my lines stay straight and nice and neat. And then after I was done with the lines, I added some color. And that's really all there is to it. Another thing I did was if there was internal dialogue, I would use a box on top to indicate that the character was thinking it. And then if it was actual dialogue, I would use Curve Snap to make a speech bubble, tail leading to the character's mouth. And then I picked my font, and it has to be an easy to read font. So let me just pull up one to show you. You want to make sure your font is easy to read. So what I did was I used goody old style, and I just had the text be black because I felt like that was easiest to read. But yeah, that's really all there is to it with the art. It just takes some time, so be patient with yourself and uh, let your creativity show. Work on expressions. If you want to make the character's hair like a color that pops, I made one of my character's hairs pink because why not? And I could play around with the colors. It's just fun to do. The last thing I'm going to talk about for now is the process of actually uploading your comic. So you create your story first. You can go here and create series. Once you create it, you can go to add episode to add a new one. You'll have to name your episode, and then you'll put a thumbnail there. The thumbnail image has to be 160 by 151, otherwise you're going to have some sizing difficulties here too. But then other than that, you just select files to upload, and your images will show up here. You can rearrange them in this box, and you just give your creator's note, and then you can preview it, and then you can publish it. It's really simple. I really appreciate Webtoons and the ease of everything. But yeah, and then you'll have your story, and then hopefully people will start reading it, and even if they don't, you can be proud of yourself for putting something out there. For example, this was my first attempt at Webtoons, and it didn't really turn out as well as I would have hoped, but I'm glad I got the experience so that I could do airball. Anyway, thank you for listening. I really hope this helped you out. If you have any more questions, leave a comment down below and I will try to answer them as best as I can. Thanks for watching.